has been a catastrophe. Other than that, I think probably the Holocaust. I was involved in the Holocaust in that we liberated one of the concentration camps, and my squad was the first group to go into a crematorium. And I'll tell you an interesting story about that. We were in combat, and we cleared out a town, and we were sort of coming into the woods a little bit, and this was in the Bavarian forest in Germany. And all of a sudden, out of the woods, up on a hill, is this huge prison, big prison, made out of these huge blocks of granite. The name of the prison was Flossenburg. And the door to the building, we thought the building was a power plant for the prison. Okay. And I noticed before we went into the building, it was a one-story building. Before we went into the building, there was this huge pile of ashes. And I said to myself, boy, they sure burn a lot of coal, because you know coal leaves ashes. You know. Once we went into the crematorium, it was all done with gas. Okay? Now you get the picture as to what that pile of ashes were? Yeah. Terrible. Just terrible. You know. I think that's probably the thing that sticks out more in my mind. I could also say the atom bomb, because I don't think I'd be here if they hadn't dropped the atom bomb. So, what were you doing when President Kennedy was shot? And I'm not sure that I remember. We were living in California at the time, and I think I was on my way to work or had been out on a business call or something, and I had stopped in for a cup of coffee somewhere or something, and somebody said President Kennedy had been shot. You know. What do you remember the most about the Great Depression? Not a whole lot, except that because, of course, my father had a job, and as little kids, we got an allowance of 25 cents a week, and with that allowance, to go to the movies was 15 cents. So you could take your money and go to the movies. You could buy a paper bag of candy for a nickel. Probably the most embarrassing thing that happened to me was, and of course, when you're a kid, you don't realize this, but I needed a coat, and my father needed a new coat. And my father, at that time, was twice the size of me. Because it was when I was going to grammar school and junior high school. And so they gave me my father's coat to wear. Okay. So I wore his old coat. Well, that was okay, but of course it was about umpteen sizes too big. Yeah. And everybody laughed at me, you know. Yeah. Hey, look at Marla's coat. Hey, Bill, does that fit you? It looks like it might be a little too big, you know? Yeah. And I tried to take it in good stead, but it was very embarrassing, you know. people. You know, when people make jokes in fun of you, it's one thing if they're well-meaning and what they're joking about is something you do. Like, for instance, someone could say to you, you know, I think Matthew would do better if he just tie one arm behind his back, you know, or
Yeah.
I think Matthew could, you know, he's not hitting that ball too well. He ought to get up there left-handed. He'd probably do just as well. Now they can say those things to you because you're good at what you're doing. But when you're not good at what you're doing, and people joke about you, then it becomes insulting. Yeah. And I felt very insulted when they joked about the code, you know. But
took it very personally.
You
took it very personally.
Personal, yeah. But I had a code.
Yeah.
If you could go back and change one thing in your life, what would it be? And I've thought about that many times. And I have had a wonderful life with wonderful children, with wonderful grandchildren like you, Matthew. And I had often thought, having been involved in missions and knowing some dear friends in missions, I think that if there's one thing in life I could do over again, I would become a doctor and supposed to spend most of my time in the mission field. The doctors that I know, and I know a number of them down at our mission in Ecuador, and I know the doctor who's a great friend. He lives in Canada, who started the hospital in Ecuador, and they all pretty much do the same thing. And that is, they go down to the mission field and they get some support, but they'll go down and stay 2 or 3 years, and they're all affiliated with a university hospital. Like, I've got a friend right now, he's at Vanderbilt. He'll go down to the mission field for 2 years, 2.5 years. He'll come back to Vanderbilt. He'll work for a year, get caught up on the latest medications, the latest general family practice, get enough money, back to the mission field. Wonderful, you know, just wonderful. How does that sound?
That's pretty good. Well, that's about it.
Now, you can send me a check by mail, man.
Yeah.
All right. Let me turn this off here.